Introduction. In early 2020, I started my journey in the business world. At that time, I honestly didn't know what I was doing or even what my end goal was. But I knew, from the start, I wanted to create something, and that's exactly what I did. After months of practice, training, and developing my assets, I've been able to create and produce dozens of business strategies and principles that I know will have the potential to help the average teenager to get a head start in their entrepreneurial career. And as a teenager that doesn't enjoy reading, I was able to condense my main principles into 3 key steps, which are learning what to sell, how to sell, whom to sell it to. But before we first need to cover a few things. Early success is a scam. If you're looking for a quick and easy success route as an entrepreneur, sorry, but you bought the wrong book. This book will develop fundamental skills within your early entrepreneurial career. Determine your specialty, whether you want to start a dog walking business or build your country's largest gas station chain. You first have to be motivated by the thing you're specializing in. If not, you wouldn't be able to enjoy and experience your full potential as an entrepreneur. You have to give to get. Nothing in business comes easy, especially if you are new to the game. The only way you will ever get better at it is if you push yourself to learn about it, and learning about it within this book or anywhere else can sometimes be challenging. But the more effort you put in, the better results you will get out of it. What to sell? Part 1. Defining the word sell. Chapter 1. Before going into this chapter, we first have to define sell. The word itself has over 300 different definitions and thousands of other books explaining what selling means. So today, we will be relying heavily on the Merriam-Webster definition, which is to exchange property for something of value, such as money. But from this, we also have to factor in that the word property doesn't always mean a physical item. The phrase property can also mean a promise of labor, online currency, content, or anything that doesn't have a physical set stone value. Finding what to sell. Chapter 2. Getting into this chapter, we always have to look within ourselves and ask ourselves, what do I want to sell? Depending on what you want to sell, it will impact your career forever. When brainstorming about what you want to sell, you have to think this has to have meaning for you. You not only have to know what your product is, but it will be essential to keep up with updates. The selection process can be easy since you can practically sell anything. One of the latest times I asked myself this was when I created the channel All You Need to Know. Before creating this channel, I had a previous career in YouTube content. So, I knew I had some prior experience, interest, and connections in that field. Learning your product. Chapter 3. As mentioned earlier, you have to learn about this product before going on to the next step. An easy method of learning the basics of your product is to ask yourself the following questions. What is the product? How can I produce this product? How easy is this product to make? How has your product been made before? And always remember, when you think you have learned enough about your product, you will always be wrong. You will never know enough about your product since the world of business, technology, and even your competition will be changing every day. What is the product? This is the first question you should ask yourself and probably will be the most basic of the 3, yet it will have to hold the most prolonged and complex answer. When answering this question and considering the others, you must be excessively descriptive. For myself, I first had to think of the videos and what I wanted to start producing. After a few hours of research and brainstorming, I realized that I wanted to start with knots. I was a Cub Scout in my younger years, and I knew a thing or two about knots, so I knew that this would be an easy start for me. How can I produce this product? The next question is, In general, how can I create this product, and the sub-question of where I can produce this product will emerge. Making a general list or a tutorial for yourself on devising this product is highly recommended but not 100% needed. My example, back to the YouTube content, was making a list on a document that was frequently changing but mainly had the same format as this. Plan the content. Record the video. Edit the video. Upload the video. Promote the video. All lists and tutorials will differ in steps and how long it takes to produce them. You always have to consider how much the product costs and how much time it will take to make it. Depending on the product, you may also need to make a general list of the materials required to make it. How easy is the product to produce? This question is one of the last and will most likely be a deal breaker for your product. So for this, the following equation can be used. V equals how much value you make from your product. P equals your product. T equals the time your product takes to produce. Y equals how much of the value you can take for yourself. P plus T equals V equals Y. If your product is too hard for you to produce alone, you might consider creating a team of people to help you make it. But before you do this, you have to factor in their split of the value, whether it's experience working for you or some monetary value, which can update this equation by adding in two new variables. G equals how much your team will take from the value. N equals the number of people that are helping you create the product. P plus equals G, V equals Y. If the product is straightforward, you probably want to increase your production to create more products to sell, which will then update the equation to this. P plus 2T equals 2V equals 2Y. From this, you always want to find a healthy average and a stream of consistency, for both the time it takes to produce the product and how much it costs. I usually try to produce multiple YouTube tutorials per day on top of my other income sources. So, we can use this previous example to show my at-home productivity. Assuming that I have no interactions, we can use this equation. YouTube tutorials plus 1.5 hours equals V equals Y. As you may notice, the variables V and Y are still individual letters. The reason behind this is that the YouTube videos will create an ongoing source of income rather than a one-time payment. So that would result in us not being able to give them specific numbers. How was your product created before? Learning how to do business can be related to learning history. For example, the two main reasons we have history class are not to repeat history and better understand why we are here. And one of the most important things you can do is look back at dead companies and products. Looking at disbanded companies and products can help you so much by showing you previous strategies, creating new specific connections, the ability to salvage resources. Most importantly, you can also see what you're supposed to not do in business, which will be some of the most helpful information you will get. When researching and brainstorming ideas for future content, I saw many similar patterns in dead channels. So, I decided to make a decently long list of things I should always try to avoid. For example, none of the channels were ever consistent in uploading content. All of the disbanded channels sucked at connecting their social media accounts. None of the channels were able to create high-quality thumbnails or marketing tactics. How to sell. Part 2. Concept establishment. Chapter 4. As stated previously, the word sell has over 300 meanings. However, we will be sticking with the Webster-Merriam definition, which is to give up property to another for something of value such as money. Which, in my opinion, can easily be defined within these main concepts. Marketing, communication, pitching, marketing. Chapter 5. When thinking of marketing, the first thing to come to many minds is the sales funnel concept. The sales funnel is a basic diagram that shows a regular person's process to become a loyal consumer of your product. And as you can tell by the following image, there will be fewer and fewer people as you go down the funnel. At the top of the funnel is awareness. This is when a possible consumer either sees an advertisement or hears about the company from a conversation. The next level is discovery, is when a possible consumer reinforces their prior knowledge of the product or company by putting some time into researching it. This step can be researching on the internet or conversing with a friend. The third step is consideration. Although this step can be confused with discovery, the main difference is the possible consumer becomes interested enough to put time into possibly investing or purchasing the product, while discovery is just researching what it is. Some funnels also call this step the intent level. This step can also have the following. The consumer puts the product into their cart. The consumer compares it to other similar products. The consumer reads the reviews of the product. The fourth step, and quite possibly the most important, is the purchase. This step is when the consumer either invests in the company or buys the product once. The fifth and final step is loyalty, the last step, and is when the consumer purchases the product more than once and shows purchase loyalty to the company. There are also many other strategies you can follow, like this 5-step method. Create your product. Find people who enjoy your product. Promote it within that group/community of people. Create another stream of promotion. Rinse and repeat. Earlier in this book, we were able to go over creating the product, so the first step we will be covering is finding people who enjoy your product. Both steps 2 and 3 are very similar and line up perfectly together, but it will be tough starting, but it will be free sailing as soon as you find them. If your product can be used or sold online, I suggest going straight into social media. Later in this book, you will be able to find out how important social media is for the average entrepreneur. If your product isn't sold online, I suggest you get it there, since you can hit more than 60% of the world with a click of a button. But if you have to stay local or have a labor service, I suggest going around your community to see where other people promote first. Doing that can let you know what works and what doesn't. From there, you have to execute constantly to get to the next step, creating another stream of promotion. Although you might think you are okay with one source of promotion, it is always beneficial if you create another one to generate more impressions and grow your sales. So when creating your second source of advertising, you would want to back to who you are selling to and ask them how they found your product. And if they have a direct answer, and if a few other of your consumers give you the same answer, you'd want to find some type of run-off method to capitalize on your potential. Communication. Chapter 6. We will be keeping communication short and sweet within this chapter, since communication will be better drawn out in the chapter on whom to sell to. Communication can be the central part of the sale or when you discuss it with your customer. Within this, the word pitch also makes an appearance. This process is also known as sales communication skills, and many skills are needed to sell. Pitching. Chapter 7. If you have ever watched Shark Tank, you know what a pitch is and its objective. But if you haven't, the pitch, also known as the sales pitch, is someone's attempt to make someone or a group of people buy your product or invest in your idea. It can lead to many types of networking. Most products need a good pitch to sell, but others do not, like social media content. There are 3 main types of pitching, which are: interrogative pitch, pitch deck, sales pitch. Interrogative pitch. The interrogative pitch is the most interactive of all 3 pitches. This is usually between you and a customer, where you are the one asking the questions. This form of pitch is widely recognized as an excellent way to sell a pen. The questions that you ask are ones that your product can answer. For example, if I were to sell a table to a customer, I would first ask them what they eat or what their work environment is like and then explain why they need to upgrade. You also need to make them curious and want to learn more about what you are trying to sell. Pitch deck. A pitch deck is a set of slides that explain your business plan and show investors why they should invest in it or buy a product from it. These presentations should have the following. Who is giving the pitch? What is the company? What is the product? What are the previous and predicted sales? Why are you better than the competition? Outro. For example, pitch decks can be found on companies' websites under Investor Resources, or you can even email the company to see theirs. I highly suggest you create one and put it out into the public eye because you will never know who will see it. Sales pitch. A sales pitch is one that you would see on a Shark Tank. The general idea of the pitch is to hook your investor or customer to a product within 30 to 90 seconds. This process is also known as the elevator pitch. The elevator pitch got its name because it would put you in the scenario where you were to get into an elevator with an investor. You have only the amount of time between when you get into the elevator and when you get out for them to invest or contact you for future purposes. Your sales pitch should mention or can even use the outline of an introduction about yourself and why you are there. What is your product is. Why they need your product. Outro/conclusion. Internships and Mentorships. Chapter 8. After learning this information, there is still more information to know before going into the real world to sell it. So that's where internships and mentorships will come in handy. While mentorship and internships have similarities, they are different in many ways. So, whenever you get the free time, look for a mentorship or an internship. They are worth it. Internships. An internship is a work-based learning opportunity that gives you an inside look at a specific occupation. While a mentorship is more of a one-on-one experience, internships are usually with a group of people and one teacher. Most of the time, internships are application entry rather than a mentorship being an invite to one scenario. An internship is usually harder to obtain since more than one person is going for the same spot. Internships also teach you more of a worker's point of view than that of an entrepreneur, which has pros and cons. But overall, depending on what you want to go into, internships are still beneficial to put yourself into. Within the application process of an internship, you are most likely to be asked for a resume, and if you aren't, you should always ask them if you want it. And even sometimes, when you go to pitch something, the investor will ask for your resume before pitching to see what level of the presentation you are getting into. Creating a resume. You always want a resume in your back pocket for something like this, even if you decide not to go into business. There are many free programs to get you an easy-to-make resume. But wherever you make it, there are a few things that you must have. Contact information. Previous experiences. Education. Groups/communities you participate in. Other information. Awards. Achievements. Current job title. Hobbies. Interests. From this, you always want your resume to either be as professional as possible or as creative as possible. A formal template can be found on applications like Word or Google Docs, where you can put accessible information and then download the resume as a PDF. Now a creative resume is much different on the other hand. A creative resume is one you mostly hand design combined on an 8x11 piece of paper. I prefer a creative one because of my experience in digital design, but both methods have their pros and cons. Mentorships. While an internship is more work-based, mentoring is the opposite of it. Mentorship is when you work with someone who guides and teaches you about their everyday work or what they specialize in. In a mentorship, you can expect very little to no work and mostly just observations, but most of the time, it will be helpful to jot down some key ideas the mentor is giving you. Mentorships can also be used to gain connections. Since you are mentoring someone in business, that means that person will probably know someone you need in the future, and the mentor itself will be a connection too. When going to look for mentorship, you should follow the following guidelines. Find a mentorship that will best fit you and your needs. If possible, contact them in person. If not available, try to do it over mail or email. Make a pitch on why they should mentor you. As a mentorship is usually a weekly meeting, an internship is more of a rubric-based work schedule. In other words, you are typically given a list of objectives you should be completing before you complete your internship. Also, with an internship, you can be paid or gain something beyond your knowledge, and with mentorship, you cannot. During an internship, you beat people out and accomplish actual objectives, and mentorships are information meetings you usually request. Mentorship Pitch. Mentorship pitches are much different from the pitches I listed before because they pitch yourself rather than a product. In the pitch, you should shoot for a 30 to 60 presentation time, including the following. Introduction of yourself. What you want to do in the future. Why you are presenting this. Why did you choose this mentor? Appreciation. I've only had positive experiences reaching out to people to mentor. For example, my last mentorship was with 3 other applicants under Christian Lee, a salesperson for TSM, and from him, I've learned so much about pitching. And he's one of the reasons I'm writing this book today. I found Christian through a program called TSMU, which connects young adults and teenagers to college esports, which has highly interested me due to my previous experiences. My mentorship lasted for about 6 weeks, and we had an hour-long meeting every Friday, usually around 6 p.m. Estate or whatever time was good for everyone attending a Google Meets call. For each session, Christian created an activity or slideshow of what he would teach for every meeting. Whom to sell it to. Part 3. Research. Chapter 9. Suppose you haven't found out already before you do anything meaningful. In that case, you have to do some research, especially in business. For researching whom to sell to, depending on if it's a physical product or an online one, you should always look at other people's results. Results can include anything from the entrepreneur's previous failures and the success they brought. Networking. Chapter 10. Networking is the general process of connecting with specific people in specific fields to develop professional contacts. It can be the easiest or most timid thing you do as an entrepreneur. So, within this section, I'll be going over the few methods I have capitalized on in the past, which are growing your name, collecting business cards, social media. Growing your name. Before you go straight into networking, you would want some name recognition or relevance in the field you're looking to go into. Without any recognition, it might be hard to start networking. Some methods that can help you grow your name are: create/grow your online cloud. Start a small startup and promote it within your community. Get a parent or a friend to share your interests. While all of these are useful, you'll be better off if you do all three effectively. Create/grow your online cloud. One of the most enjoyable ways to grow your name is growing on social media. Social media will be harder for networking later in this book, but it will be one of the most essential tools you will ever use in business. The basic gist of growing clout online for networking is that you want to get to a point where an average person clicks on your profile and is curious to learn more about you. But within that definition, two main things need to be hit, which are: how can I attract people to my profile? How can I get someone to become interested to learn more about me? When creating content and growing your social media brand on any platform, you always want people to be attracted to you enough to follow them. At the same time, the easiest way for that to happen is for them to get to know you before following another easy method, creating a statement or form of content that they want to see again. My content journey started in March 2020, starting with gaming content creation on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I had a detailed schedule of posting a YouTube video once or twice a week while streaming whenever I had the free time and using my Twitter to give updates on those channels. Then, after a bit of research, I found out that if I used more platforms consistently than the ones I'm using now, I would grow a lot more. So, after a few months of creating content, I made my Instagram page, TikTok account, and Discord server. A few months after, I decided I wanted to change my content path to more of a business/esports content stream, which I still find much more enjoyable. From my content journey, I built a large community of over 10,000 plus followers combined and over 1 million total impressions on all of my accounts. And I was able to get a good start on my LinkedIn account because of it. Your journey can be whatever you make of it. The only thing you have to keep in mind is that you will only produce quality content when you think you are creating quality content. In other words, you know what you like, and if you can get it to a level of quality that you enjoy watching, that is the definition of content quality. Start a small startup and promote it within your community. After you have started your content journey, or if you were able to create a society without the use of the content, I suggest you take this next step. This step begins with something and promotes it everywhere possible. Doing so will uncover so many diamonds in the rough and people that will help you just to help. When I started my first organization a few years back, I had no clue how to do anything in business. I knew I wanted to do something in business, so that's exactly how I presented myself as a kid with a lot of motivation to work on himself and start young in the industry. I started promoting my content on my Discord server and a few servers related to my content. Then I found people. These people were just regulars on those servers with extra time on their hands and specialized skills that I could use. I got a fast start in my business career after recruiting for a few weeks and creating a powerful staff team. You can also do this by just going around in random communities and seeing if people have extra time to work on a new project that could be something big in the future. And those people can be powerful connections that will probably be used in the future. Get a friend to share your interests on social media. This step is very self-explanatory. If you can get your friend to promote that you're looking to grow connections, your chances will almost double by connecting with people because more than one person is helping. An example of this is when I had a buddy that I went to school with look for people within our community while using some of his connections to help grow my network. But when you get those people to share something, make sure it's worthwhile, and you have something for them to post. For example, if you can send them a link to your product or project, you can use connections or even a picture for the post. Collecting business cards. Everyone everywhere knows what a business card is, but not so much about what they can do. For those who don't know, on an average card, there is the primary contact information of either a person or a company that might be able to help you out somehow in the future. The cards usually have the following information: name, company name/occupation, point of contact, address. If you're looking to network with people, this is a great way to start within your local area. This already gives you a bit of information on the person. Business cards can also help you find some of your first customers. As I mentioned earlier, you know where they work and their possible interests, so if you had a product that would appeal to them, you might as well talk to them and connect with them. When I started my YouTube channel for tutorials, I found a Boy Scout troop leader's information. I was fortunate to see it, and I sent a few of my not videos over to him to gain some extra views. Now on the lines, if you should create them or not. I think they can be helpful, but 90% of the time, when you network, you usually want to find people to network with rather than the other way around. Social media. Chapter 11. A few platforms probably pop up when you think of social media. For example, Snapchat, Instagram, or even Twitter. Although those are great, there are a few platforms that are just better to use for networking, like Discord, LinkedIn, Facebook. The three have advantages and disadvantages. If you can use and utilize all three, you should be very good at social media networking. Discord. Discord is a community-driven VoIP software that hosts communities and servers on the platform, ranging from DIY to cooking. Each server has stages, announcements, voice, and text channels. They are also designed to teach business topics such as cryptocurrency, dropshipping, and stocks. A voice channel is similar to a phone call but holds a few key features. People can join and leave as they please within a voice channel, making a conversation lengthier and more informative. There is also a feature to create a more interactive discussion using a webcam. A text channel is similar to an email chain or a phone message, but this also has a few more key features like editing sent messages, using Discord created or server produced emoticons, searching for a previous message in the search bar, creating a staff team to manage the channel, reacting to a sent message using an emoji, creating a thread off of the message to better manage a conversation. A stage channel is like a Q&A or a presentation channel where only a few people are allowed to talk at a time. There is also an opportunity to have moderators to help manage the conversation in the channel. You are also entitled to request to speak, but it has to be accepted by the current speaker or moderator. An announcement channel is like a text channel, but a regular individual wouldn't be able to use it most of the time. The channel's primary purpose is to create announcements for the community, and there is an option to follow the track. Following a channel will let you put the messages from the announcement channel onto your server. There is also a good opportunity for communities to host networking events with these channels. These events are usually held on voice channels or stages and are moderated by a staff member. All of the Discord-run networking events I've been to have gone well. If you are interested in creating a server for your network or even your product, I highly suggest doing so. Here is a simple tutorial on how to make one. Open the Discord desktop. Click the plus sign located in the server navigation toolbar on the left side of the screen. In the menu that appears, click Create My Own. Choose whether the server is public or private. Name the server, and click Create. Once you've followed these steps, you're ready to send out invite links. You can also message a user outside of the server privately. You can download Discord for free on Android, Apple, Mac, and Windows to try Discord. But there is an option that unlocks more features called Discord Nitro. Discord Nitro offers many features and add-ons like HD 60 FPS screen sharing, 2 server boosts per server, 100 megabytes images and upload files maximum, an animated avatar, the ability to join 200 servers, the ability to have 4,000 characters per message. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the only mainstream social media platform that is built for entrepreneurs. It will be one of, if not the most, essential platforms you will use in networking. The LinkedIn site is built like a Twitter format but has many more business-related features, such as LinkedIn company pages, the ability to make a job-seeking/person seeking post, the ability to post pitch decks, sponsored/ad posts, the ability to connect and follow people, the premium upgrade availability. LinkedIn also has an excellent analytics page, which is excellent for marketing and analytic research. But you can get more out of upgrading to the premium, such as see everyone who views your profile, being able to use in-mail credits, the ability to use LinkedIn learning courses, being able to have an infinite amount of business searches. While it is controversial whether or not it's worth it, it can be worth it to many people. Facebook. Lastly, Facebook might be more of an unexpected platform to see here. However, as one of the top 3 largest social media platforms, there has to be a place on this list for it. On Facebook and many other social media platforms, there are ways you can pay to promote a post. This can be very helpful to promote a product, event, or even just who you are through an introduction post. Then Facebook has easy access to the branch of Facebook Messenger, so you can contact or be contacted by people interested in you. Facebook also offers a Facebook business or community profile. The business/community profile allows you to promote public updates or new products to your fan base. This page is also very customizable, as you can change the tabs to suit your business needs. Facebook is also straightforward to grow on, considering the number of people using it. Facebook also has a rare age range for social media. The average age range in the United States on the platform is 40.5 years old, with only 10% of people under 17. The only platform that comes close to this demographic is Twitter, with 21% of people aged 34 to 49. With this, you can capitalize on this age range on a mass scale, so as I mentioned earlier, you can promote your posts and try to market them where you can pull from that age range's interest in networking and your product. Facebook also has a branch called Facebook Market, also known as the Marketplace. The Facebook Marketplace can be used to sell products to people on the platform. The unit itself also draws more people to the platform due to its popularity and convenience. With this, you also already have a decent advantage on Facebook over the majority of the other platforms because a large percent of your teachers, co-workers, or even parents probably have Facebook. So it will give you a small cushion of clout when you start.